All right, everyone, we are back with more of Teddy's historic content list, and we got a fun one. You chose this topic yourself, Bud, for the viewers out there this week, and I think they're going to enjoy it. It's the greatest hearts in boxing. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to let you jump right into it, your top 10 list, the best hearts in boxing.
Listen, I think it's a great list because, look, people are going to be able to argue it. That's what we want. We want arguments, friendly arguments. We want debate. We want conversation. We want to invoke thought and passion. We have passion for this, and we know the fans out there do too. And what would be better to invoke passion and invoke conversation in the sport of boxing than who's got the greatest heart? Now I will qualify it by saying this. Any fighter that gets in the ring has more heart than probably 90% of the people on the planet. Now, I say 90%. Some people might say, Teddy, that probably should be 98%. 90. How many people have the heart to go in the ring against another man and face what you got to face in that kind of way? No, I say 90% because let's not forget our military heroes. They're above everyone because they're going out there and a lot of times they're just not coming back. And they're not facing punches. They're facing bullets and bombs. So, but if you're a fighter, you have heart. And there's no doubt about it. But like we always say, and people say, there's levels to everything. We're going to talk about the levels. We're going to talk about those special ones that I think have the most heart. So here we go. I'm going to put my glasses on. You know I'm being serious now. I don't want to make no mistakes, all right? A little bit of examples of great heart and a little bit of the history. Real quick, I want to put some history out there, and I always try to. I'm going to go all the way back to the 1890s, 1893 to be exact. Andy Bowen versus Jack Burke. The fight, longest glove fight in the history of boxing. I'm sure most of you never knew this. My buddy didn't know this. 7 hours and 20 minutes. 110. What? I'll say it again. He said, what? 7 hours and 20 minutes. I love these lists. Aren't they good? Hey, folks, come on. Really, grab a sandwich, grab a beer. This is fun. 7 hours, 20 minutes, 110 3-minute rounds. Longest fight ever. Neither guy would quit. They couldn't lift their arms, and the referee stepped in and made it a no contest, and it was later changed to a draw after 110 3-minute rounds. I think they had a lot of heart. All right, that's some of the history. Here's, real quick, another one. Batley Nelson and Ed Wolgast. All right?
You got that right behind you, too, the nice poster of that fight.
Yeah, right there. Batley Nelson, he had 132 recorded fights. He was knocked out 2 times. Ed Wolgast, he had 135 recorded fights, stopped only 2 times, and he was an old man when that happened. And the other time that he got stopped was he broke his arm in the fight, and they refused to let him fight anymore. They went 45 rounds in a fight together. 1906, 45-round fight Batley Nelson had with Joe Gans. Wow. Just a little history that it's out there about this great sport. That a lot of you guys would never have the ability to know that somebody fought 110 rounds. Or that someone won 45 rounds with a fighter as great as Joe Gans. The last one I'll mention is John L. Sullivan. You got to at least mention him. He was the last bad-knuckle heavyweight champ. All right, let's get to Teddy's list. I start humbly. I will start with my notable, honorable mention. I have to have a few, and I'm going to run through them fast. Tyson Fury. This is honorable mention. No, he didn't make the top 10, but I had to put him. Just those 2 fights with Deontay Wilder, and the way he survived. He came back in the first fight with Usyk. It has to put him. It has to put him out there. Number 16. I think you guys are going to like these lists because some of it's going to surprise you. Some of it won't. But that's the greatness of these lists. That's the fun of these lists. Aaron Pryor, junior welterweight world champion. The undefeated Pryor, before drugs destroyed him, was a non-stop punching machine, and the oil that powered this machine pumped from his heart, and that was that. That was him. Mickey Ward, he's an honorable mention. I know some people have him on there. That's fine, but I can't argue with you. Just look at his trilogy with Arturo Gatti. And here's a quick story I have to give you. Barney Ross, 81 fights, never stopped. Lightweight, junior welterweight titles. Won a fight from the first round with a broken hand. I know other fighters have done that. He did it against Severino Garcia, who was a top fighter. It was for Ross's welterweight title. Also, in the last fight of Ross's career versus the great Henry Armstrong, a lot of you guys know he's one of my favorite fighters, if not my favorite fighter. Ross had nothing left. He was taking a beating. And in the 12th, either the 12th or 13th round, the ref came to the corner and said, listen, I got to stop the fight. Ross said, no, give me the respect that's owed a champion, please. Again, you know I love the movies. That's the scene, Bud, for me, from The Gladiator. I know you know it, when Maximus says, give me a soldier's death. Anyway, he went the full 15 rounds. And here, I can't leave this story out. Barney Ross, in World War II, he was in the Marines. All right? He volunteered. He requested combat duty. In the Battle of Guadalcanal, fighting the Japanese, he was in a foxhole with 2 other Marines. One was killed, the other wounded. He manned the machine gun all night. The next morning, his company found him wounded, and there were 22 dead Japanese soldiers around the foxhole. Buddy, if that don't bring almost tears to your eyes, he was awarded the Silver Star. I mean, we're talking about.
That's when you know this list is impossible to do, that he doesn't make the top 10 list after what you just said, and he's an honorable mention.
Thank you, Bud, because you're so right. You're so right, Bud. Okay, next honorable mention, Rocky Marciano. Power, conditioning, heart made him the only undefeated heavyweight champion. Number 12, hey, I left my favorite fighter off from the top 10. He could easily be on there. Henry Armstrong, featherweight, lightweight, welterweight champ, 174 fights, stopped only 2 times. When he won the lightweight title versus the great Lou Ambers, he had a terrible cut. Listen to this. Don't go eat lunch after this story. Don't. And if you have a queasy stomach, turn the volume down. He had a terrible cut on the inside of his lip. The corner said, we can't stop the bleeding. The referee might stop it. So he said, Armstrong said to his corner, no. I'll swallow the blood. He became sick. He won the title, and it was estimated that he swallowed several pints of his own blood and got very sick afterwards in his stomach. All right. Now, let's go to the next one before we get to that list. The next honorable mention, oh man, this is a tough one to leave off. Carmen Basilio, the onion farmer. Middleweight, welterweight champ, not the most talented. His heart was his greatest talent. All right, number 10. Here's the list. You ready? Jake LaMotta, middleweight world champ. Ray Robinson was one of the greatest fighters and punchers of all time. Couldn't put him down. They fought 6 times. Famous scene from the movie. My son loves this scene from the movie The Raging Bull. Couldn't put me down, Ray. Ray, couldn't put me down, Ray. All right. All right, number 9, Joe Frazier. Yeah, I love Joe Frazier. I just love smoking Joe. He belongs on this list. Heavyweight champ. Yes, he had a great left hook, but it was his great heart that allowed him to fight those 3 historic fights with the great Muhammad Ali. Right? Yeah. How can you argue with that? That's number 9. Okay? Number 8. This is going to throw some people for a surprise, but not me. Not me. And I love this guy, and he's dead. Yeah. And he died tragically and way too early. Johnny Tapia. Unified IBF, WBO, super flyweight, WBA champion, WBO, bantamweight champion, the IBF featherweight title. He had 66 fights. He was a great fighter, but also a tortured soul whose greatest opponents were the demons that haunted him throughout his life. I had a soft spot for Johnny. He actually came to New York to ask me to train him, but I declined. But I truly had great respect and fondness for him. Yeah, he was tormented, and yes, he had a great heart. All right, that's number 8. I love this list. Number 7, Arturo Gatti. I mean, come on. Come on. The Cardiac Kid, the original. He was the IBF junior lightweight and WC junior welterweight champ. Mr. Blood and Guts himself, his first fight with Mickey Ward, forget about it. I mean, just that fight alone. Mickey Ward, another true warrior. That was just one example of his never say die attitude when he just refused to submit. Number 6. This guy's great. He's great. Evander Holyfield, the real deal. Cruiserweight, heavyweight champ. His first fight with the bigger Riddick Bowe was just one of the many examples of this smaller man always being the bigger man when the bell rang. Yeah. All right, number 5. We're getting there to the top of the hill. Muhammad Ali. Just look at the thrill in Manila. I know that the early Ali, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Your hands cannot hit what your eyes cannot see. All right, but the Ali, the later Ali, was the guy that probably showed more heart than most fighters will ever be able to show. Like I was starting to say, look at the thrill in Manila. And versus Larry Holmes, very tragic. Shouldn't have been in the ring. He was a shot fighter, but he didn't quit. Never should have been in the ring. One of the greatest chins and wills and pride of all time. Number 4. Yeah. Sam Langford. Yeah, Sam Langford. Fought the best fighters from lightweight to heavyweight, including Jack Johnson, who he went 15 rounds with. Johnson weighed 195. Langford was 156 pounds. Stopped only 2 times in 313 fights. Yeah, I know. You're shaking your head, bud. I know. You heard it right. 313 fights. Was fighting nearly blind the last few years of his career. Number 3, I'm going to wake up some people here. I'm going to remind some people, you don't pay enough attention. You don't pay enough attention. That's why you listen to this show, to be reminded, because you're great. We love you, but we want to remind you of these guys that should never be forgotten, that left so much of themselves, too much of themselves, in many cases. In this case, inside the ring, for what they gave to the sport. Bobby Chacon, 67 fights, WBC featherweight champ, WBC junior lightweight champ. His fights with Boza Edwards, Bazooka Lamone were testaments to his special courage and toughness in some of the greatest fights ever. Unfortunately, his unlimited toughness led to his having pugilistic dementia later in life. Yeah, it's a price to pay to be great sometimes. That's why I want these people remembered. They deserve to be remembered. Number 2, Harry Greb, 294 fights, middleweight champ, fought 60 fights with one eye. Yeah. I don't mean to laugh, but I'm just saying, with one eye. I wonder how many would have fought if that eye went bad. At least 10. Richie's looking at me. Richie's like, fought all the best, only stopped 2 times. Defeated heavyweights, 294 fights. All right, number 1. I'm sure some people will argue, but I can't. I give a lot of thought to this stuff. That's why I give you the honorable mentions first, too, that I wish could have made it and could have made it. But, yeah, he's already thought of as the greatest fighter ever, maybe, by a lot of people. So a lot of people say, oh, no, a guy that great, you can't also make him with the greatest heart because he had the greatest skills. He had the greatest power. He had the greatest speed. He had the greatest combination. He had the greatest legs. So you can't say, what, you can't have the greatest heart, too, to go with it? I would say if you're the greatest fighter of all time, you better have the greatest heart to go with it, too. And I'm talking about Ray Robinson, the original Sugar Ray. Fought everyone, 201 fights, from lightweight to light heavyweight. Fought all the best in the world. Only time he was stopped, can you imagine this? Was by heat stroke when he was carried out of the ring when it was like 110 degrees in the ring at Yankee Stadium. I think it was July, August, whatever it was, versus Joey Maxim when he stepped up to try to win the light heavyweight title, which he would have won if he didn't collapse. And the reason he collapsed was he just kept fighting. He was collapsing much earlier. But he went all the way to the 13th round. I believe it was the 13th round when he finally collapsed. Sugar Ray Robinson. There's a good list, bud. I mean...
Yeah, you did the impossible. You did a great list that it really is almost impossible to put a list together with this topic. And I think we're going to get some great conversation and comments. And that's what we encourage. We want to hear who we missing, who would be on your list, who should we do next lists on. But I just want to throw a couple names out there that weren't.
I want you to. I am dying to hear some of the guys that you think. I am.
I could hear some viewers saying, what about guys that made some of our lists in the past, by the way, before. Maybe some of the tough guys or the greatest chins, but a Tex Cobb, a George Chuvalo, right? I could see names like that being thrown out. You covered all of my favorite ones watching as a kid. The Real Deal, Evander Holyfield, Toro Gatti, Mickey Ward. I love that you put Johnny Tapia there. And also what you touched on. I think you and Johnny could have been one of the most dynamic combinations, fighter-trainer. Wish it would have happened. But, yeah, I think he belongs and had an incredible heart. The ones we didn't touch on, I'll just throw out there for me. Vinny Pazienza. I mean, anytime a guy breaks his neck and then screws the hello into his neck and then comes back and continues to fight at the level he did.
Can't argue that.
Yeah, no question. I feel like we can name probably all of them, but out of the 4 kings, somebody's got to be mentioned. I would say Marvin Hagler for me. Next would be one of your former fighters, Timothy Bradley. There's so many examples of why I could say that for Tim Bradley, but the Ruslan Provodnikov fight alone, that's enough. That was unbelievable. Tremendous heart displayed by both men. Eric Morales, another guy. Tons of examples, on and on. But as a kid, no matter who he fought, I just remember it was always incredible fights and how much heart he had and grit to him. And the last one, I'll say Diego Corrales, no longer with us. But Diego Corrales, just from the one fight alone, versus maybe to me the greatest comeback I've ever witnessed versus Castillo. But incredible heart. So those are just a couple of the names that came to mind for me, bud. But I loved your list. I really did.
I love yours. Yeah, I love yours. Can't argue with them. Can't argue with any of them.
And somebody's going to argue with us, and somebody's going to say, hey, you forgot about so-and-so. But like you just said, that's what we want. So as always, please let us know who we missing, who's on your list, what list, again, should we do next. And as always, please like, comment, subscribe. And we will be back again with more historic content from Teddy next week.